News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. So we supposedly have a call from Joe Biden into campaign folks to support the cackling Kamala. Can you imagine this woman as your president? A woman, and we'll play the blunders and how she literally can't put together a good statement, etc. We all know about that. We'll play some, we'll regale in that. But this is amazing. Number one, we have not seen Joe Biden. We did supposedly hear from him today. But how do you know it was him? Have you seen a picture of him? You seen video of him talking? Has anybody seen the man? Is he infirmed? Is he ill? Was that AI? I don't know. I mean, I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying what's going on here. We don't see this guy. And is he on his deathbed? Will we see him again? How can somebody who cannot run for office, who is judged to be incompetent to stand trial, who is judged to be incompetent to run for office, how can somebody be the president for 6 months? He thinks he's going to be the president for the next 6 months, but the man's incompetent. Do you want him to be your president? Do you trust him to be your president? Can he be our president? Is this a coup d'etat? Now, wait, before you say, no, it's not a violent uprising by the military, that is not the only definition thereof. I have it right here from the liberal leftist Wikipedia of all places. Because coup d'etats don't have to be violent. You know that, don't you? So let me share with you like 2 lines from the definition. Coup d'etat, an overt attempt or illegal attempt by a military organization or other government elites to unseat an incumbent leadership. Okay, who picked the cackler? Who picked cackling Kamala to be our vice president? Did anybody vote for her? Has she ever had one vote? Has the cackler ever had one vote for her for president? In a primary or in the general? No. There's never been one vote cast for her for president. She dropped out before the South Carolina primaries because she was registering at 0.0 in the heavily black state where supposedly her being an African American would rescue her candidacy. So how is this not a coup d'etat? Because you and I didn't pick her. And by the way, I'm not a Democrat, I know that, but the Democrats didn't vote for her. Nobody did. Who picked her? The donors. Who are the donors? Billionaires, Hollywood. Did people living paycheck to paycheck, like some Democrats are talking about today, did they pay for her? Or did they vote for her? Can a white Michigan union guy vote for, will he vote for a San Francisco liberal? Can he relate to her? It'll be interesting, won't it? So here's my questions for you. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think Joe Biden is hiding something regarding his health? Is he on his deathbed or something? Why do you think they're hiding him? Why aren't we seeing him? I mean, this is insane. He releases a paper statement on Twitter. And then you hear this recording of him today. He sounds excited. I'm not saying it isn't him, but how do we know it's him? Or is this a coup? Is this a threat to democracy? When an unelected person, I mean, she was elected as vice president, but she was not elected as president, is suddenly thrown over and put in as the president. And should Biden even finish off this term, or should he resign right now? I mean, nobody seems to have confidence in him. Not his own party. None of them. I'll share with you how apparently Nancy Pelosi threatened him like a mobster. I'm not kidding you. I got a report of that. I'll share that with you coming up next at 8:15. And do you feel Biden's staff, Kamala and the Democrats, deceived us on Biden's mental deficiencies? I mean, have they been lying to us for 3.5 years? It sure looks like it, doesn't it? I don't see how not. And she's the one that's been telling us overtly, like, I'm in meetings with Joe. This man is incredible. No one can keep up with him. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think Biden is hiding something? Is he on his deathbed? Why do you think they're hiding him? Is this a coup to you, a threat to democracy? Should he just resign now instead of finishing off his term? And do you feel that Biden, his staff, I should say, Kamala and the Democrats have all lied to us about his efficiency for years and covered it up? This looks like a heck of a cover-up, doesn't it? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. Line's wide open. Another interesting thing is I don't think this woman's going to win. I don't think she can win. I don't think there's any way she's going to win. I think she's the sacrificial lamb. I think she's the one that a lot of people have been talking about, that I've been mentioning to you, a sacrificial lamb to just shove in there. She will not make it. Apparently none of the Democrats, the elites that made this happen, like her. And they don't think she can win. In fact, Joe even delayed his resignation because he did not think Kamala could win. He didn't think she could win. He literally, that's one of the reports today from a leftist publication, not from a conservative one or some blog. I'm going to go into more on how this really is a coup d'etat in just a sec, but I want you to chime in right now. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Did they cover it all up? Did they lie to us? And should Biden just resign since he is not capable of running and being the president after 6 months? What magically turns him into being unable to run the presidency in 6 months? What condition do they know he'll have in 6 months that he doesn't have now? And why are they hiding him? Yeah, this is a coup d'etat. It's a soft coup. It's a nonviolent coup. They overthrew the government. Let me share a column from Armis.co. It's a column called The Coup and the Country today by Joshua Trevino at Armis. The coup includes a sitting president using terminology. He says, this case is not overwrought in saying it's a coup. A sitting president of the United States has had his political future terminated, which means his political present is ended as well. He has lost the ability to do nearly every meaningful thing intrinsic to the presidency, including real cooperation with the legislative branch, persuading a nation to make war. What's left is a headless apparatus, just like a coup, I said, by the elites, ruled but not governed. We are ruled, but we're not governed by him. We're governed by the thousands of functionaries of the administrative state. The administrative state is running our country now. We have no figurehead. Do you understand that? We literally have no figurehead right now. The freaking free world, the leader of the free world, has a no head. We have no head. We have bureaucrats, nameless, faceless bureaucrats controlling this country. Chris in Plano, you are on WBAP. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
I want to let you know, I went to the grocery store earlier and I got Trump flags on my car and Trump decals, and I already had somebody pull my windshield wiper off. So that doesn't happen in Plano, and I'm just a little... freaks me out a little bit.
Well, you've got a leftist chief, a BLM chief who knelt with him and loves him. So I disagree. I think Plano has become kind of half-half, unfortunately, from what I've heard and seen.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's true.
All it takes is one person that's violent and such. So I don't put political stickers on my car. I never have, because I don't want to deal with that kind of crap. I just do what I do, you know. But that's, God bless you for sharing. And I guess that's the price we pay for our freedom of speech. Now, if you had a cackling Kamala, or I support a coup for Joe, you would be fine.
I don't have any, I'm just saying.
So was this a coup, by the way?
Of course it was. Are you kidding me? They wanted her out. Him out.
Should Biden resign then? Isn't this a threat to democracy? There's no votes.
Absolutely, he should resign, but then we would have Madam President.
Well, that's what we should have. She should be the president. Why don't they do the 25th Amendment if they can't get him out right now?
If this country's dumb enough to elect the border czar, then we are worse off than I thought we ever were.
Yeah, I'll share that next. It's an AP headline, literally, that she was in charge of the border. The AP reported that like 3 years ago. I've got it right here. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, if people are going to actually do this, I'm hearing some knuckleheads actually. Oh, it's a woman and she's black, which she's not. She's Jamaican and Asian. but still, woman of color. And if we're going to do that, instead of worrying about policies, the last 3.5 years have been terrible.
Listen, we saw what happened when DEI is in charge. The president almost got killed. Donald J. Trump almost got killed because DEI is more important than protecting the president. All right, I will share with you a couple of things next. I will share with you the report on Pelosi and what she said to Joe Biden that literally made him quit the race. And it shows that she was one of the leaders of the coup d'etat that just happened in our country. And by the way, if you disagree with me, I challenge you to call in and tell me why that's wrong. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, plus more audio from today, you hear the cackler announce that she's in charge now, at least in 6 months, reportedly. But nonetheless, all that's next. We have 4 lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think Biden's hiding something? Is he on his deathbed? Why are they hiding him? Is this a coup, a threat to democracy? And should he finish the term or resign now? And do you think they deceived us? Biden's staff, Kamala, and the Democrats. Didn't they deceive us for 3 years now? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better and recovering fast, and he looks forward to getting back on the road. And I wanted to say a few words about our president. Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap, and firsthand witness that every day our President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
I got Joe's, you know what, fired over the weekend. Oh, I did. How you like me now? The cackler. Are you ready for the cackler? You should be watching me on my Facebook Live at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show. The cackler. I'm posing like a super villain on Batman. All right. By the way, Pelosi reportedly told Biden, according to the leftist Politico, that she would make him quit the race if he didn't get out by the weekend. Quote, Nancy, the Politico reports, the reports today, Nancy made clear they could do this the easy way or the hard way. She gave them 3 weeks. That's a Biden campaign. 3 weeks of the easy way. It was about to be the hard way. The hard way, Politico says, would have entailed Pelosi taking what had been private efforts she was part of to get Biden to bow out of the race into the public discourse. The report carried the threat of publicizing internal Biden campaign polls conducted last week, which showed he was behind in every battleground state and was in jeopardy in other states that Dems bank on the presidential elections, including New Mexico and Virginia. And one more thing. This is the headline, which I've showed to my listeners. I'm showing them right now on the Chris Crock Show live feed at Chris Crock Show on Facebook at Chris Crock Show. President Joe Biden has tasked the headline, Biden taps VP Harris to lead response to border challenges. There it is. AP. Biden taps VP Harris to lead response to border challenges. There you go. She's the border czar. She was in charge. This was March 24th, 2021. This is 3 years and 3 months ago. How'd she do? President Biden, the AP reported, President Biden has tapped Vice President Kathleen Kamala to lead the White House effort to tackle the migration challenge at the southern border and work with Central American nations to address the root causes of the problem. Root cause. Remember when she said that 50 times in one sentence? And that's all she said, and she did nothing. Continuing on, she was discussing the increase in illegal migrants, including many unaccompanied minors arriving at the border in recent weeks. She said this at the time, needless to say, the work will not be easy, but it's important work. All right, let's go to your call at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Is Biden hiding something, like regarding his health? Is he on his deathbed? Why do you think they're hiding him? And is this a coup? As I believe it is. The elites have done a coup here, and it's a threat to democracy. Nobody voted for her as president. And shouldn't Biden be removed? I mean, should he finish his term or resign now? He should resign now if he's that infirmed. And do you think that Biden's staff, Kamala and the Democrats, deceived us on Biden's mental deficiencies for basically three and a half years? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Terry and Sherman, WBAP.
My question is, who's going to run with her? Who are they going to put on the ticket with her?
Oh, well, that's coming up next. I'll share that with you at the bottom of the hour after the news. I will.
And then as far as Biden, they've been lined up.
And by the way, who's going to challenge her as president? Because this is not over with. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I mean, Bernie Sanders said something, didn't he? And I don't know what Gavin Newsom's up to, but either one of them two numbskulls can. Aren't they? I know Bernie Sanders is itching to be president.
Yeah, he ain't going to run against her. I think he's already endorsed her. Also, you have had the first one you mentioned. What was the first one you said?
Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, he's already endorsed her, so that's your answer. I'm going to share the rest, though, coming up next in the Chris Crock Show. Jim in Fort Worth, you are next, plus your call. We got 3 lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I will share with you who are the people that very well may challenge the cackler because they have not supported her. I mean, she's got an overwhelming support today and overwhelming media coverage. Media support and overwhelming Democrat support and overwhelming. She's raised $81 million in the first 24 hours because that's the elites that did this coup. They're the ones who wanted this, not the people. Who knows what the people want? They don't care. But I will share with you which 3 to 4 high-profile Democrats may run against her and challenge her for the presidency, and which 3 to 4, at least, high-profile Democrats that could be her vice presidential nomination. That is next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
The vice president is smart and strong, which will make her a good president.
She's going to bring and breathe some life into this campaign.
She's someone who's gone toe-to-toe with people who bluster, people who bully, people who lie.
I'm going to work for her all over this country and do what I can to make sure we stop Donald Trump.
And Vice President Harris, Michigan voters have a presidential candidate we can count on to lower our costs, protect our freedoms.
My support of the vice president is because I've seen her in action.
Okay, look at this clown. Are you ready? From Axios, the headline, Biden doubts about Harris' chances delayed his exit. Biden doubted she could win the race or do better than him, so that's why he decided not to get out until Nancy said, I'm going to come out publicly and basically cut your head off and hold it up for the world to see, basically. And so look at this, though. Just a few bullet points you are must hear from Axios, a leftist publication that gets it right, especially on things like this. Much of Harris' staff has turned over in the past 3.5 years. Half the vice president's staff is paid for by the Senate, which requires regular disclosures. Of the 47 Harris staffers listed in 2021, only 5 still work for her. 42 out of 47 left. You know, a lot of them are black women who are like angry and lash out at her, so it's not a racial matter. You know, she tries to make it that way. That's amazing. During Obama's first term, Biden had far more staff stability. Only 17, half of his aid states, 17 to 37. So she lost 42 out of 47. Biden only lost half in his 2 terms, guys. Well, at the end of his first term, he only lost half. She's lost, 95%? Do the math on that, would you? 5 of 47. What's the percentage of that? 5 are left out of 47. So how many have left? 95% is my guess. What's the math? And the producer Garrett, too, is super fly on the math numbers. What is it, my man? He's a smart... Yeah, 5 out of 47. What is that, like 95% have left? Turnover rate? What is it? 10%. Okay, 90% turnover rate versus Biden's 50. You feel me now? Others felt she frequently grilled them when she grilled the way she grilled Trump officials on her staff. And former aides, often referred to as prosecuting the staff. Wow. White House aides felt she wasn't a team player, stayed away from her at any task with risk. Let's see. At times, Harris aides suspected Biden's team didn't want to give Harris opportunities to shine to avoid her being seen as a viable alternative to Biden. Ooh, interesting. Senior aides resented how Biden's team got frustrated with the optics of the vice president's niece when she tried to publish a book, even though Biden had Hunter's book roll out and supported it. But look at this. The White House internally pushed Harris to be the headliner for D.C.'s 2022 traditional gridiron dinner, but she resisted. The Commerce Secretary said, Gina Raimondo, Harris they said it was about racial stuff, but look at this. In April 2022, Harris' anxiety about going to the gridiron dinner, they said, you go headline it. Her anxiety about the dinner was such that her staff held a mock dinner. She needed a mock dinner to go to dinner. She had to have a practice dinner. She had to have a practice dinner. Is this a wedding? Was she getting married? That's the only time I've heard of a rehearsal dinner. She needs a rehearsal dinner to go to dinner. Wow. That is presidential material, y'all. Wow. They even considered including wine in the mock dinner prep so that she could practice with a glass or two. Holy gosh! Woo! Woo! And then White House Communications Director Ben LaBolt said Harris has been incredibly loyal and dedicated. Anyways, this is amazing. Wow! Get ready! We're going on a rocket ship of incompetency. Get ready to laugh for 6 months. She ain't gonna be laughing in 6 months. Okay, is this a coup? Why do you think they're hiding Joe? Is he on his deathbed, maybe? Is this a threat to democracy since nobody voted for president? And should Biden finish his term or resign now since he's too incompetent to be the president? And do you feel his staff, Kathleen Kamala and the Democrats, deceived us on his mental deficiencies for all these years? I sure do. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Okay, we have 2 lines open, by the way. Let's go to Jim in Fort Worth. You're welcome to WBAP, Jim. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, all good. So, Chris, just so I understand the setup here, is it correct that Biden made this announcement over X or some
yes,
other online?
He had a paper statement that he signed and put it on Twitter. I mean, we have not seen him, a picture of him or a video of him or any proof of life. There was supposedly a phone call today where he praised the cackler and had his staff get excited. But I mean, I don't know. How do we know it was him? I don't know. Is he laying on a bed when he says that? Go ahead.
Exactly. And were they showing him, bank statements or transfers or photos that were blackmail? And this sounds like something like a statement that a Vietnam prisoner of war would make, denouncing his country. I reminded
under duress. He resigned under duress.
Yeah, it's so strange. I mean, there's so much dirt on this guy. Anybody could have it.
No, but we have published reports today of Pelosi saying, do this or else. So he was under duress. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I remember when Johnson said he would not run again. He did that live on worldwide television. Yes. When Nixon resigned, he did it live on worldwide television. This is like a global version of the text breakup. Right. It's just unbelievable. I can't believe it. And it really does give rise to the question, who is running this show?
Well, and that's the thing. That's why this is a coup, because it doesn't have to be violent. I read the definition. We have elites who have orchestrated a coup. I mean, that's really it. The donors wanted her, and they got her. And the people voted for him, and they didn't get him. There you go.
It's mind-boggling.
And they tell us you're welcome. Thank you. They tell us the people didn't want him. What do you mean? They voted for him. What do you mean they didn't want him? Okay, let's go to Eddie in Allen. Eddie, you're on WBAP. Hello. What do you got?
Hey.
Hi.
First of all, bro, you're funny. I love it. You're hilarious.
Thank you. Second of all, am I funny like a clown? Do I amuse you?
You amuse me completely.
Okay.
Listen, let's set the record straight. We know that Biden's not president. Didn't get voted in. It was a sham the whole way. His whole staff is running this whole program. That's why the United States is falling apart. They did try to hide him They hit him really well, but they didn't hide him enough. And he couldn't hide from himself, from his diction, from his vocabulary, from his ability to speak and think. None of that happened. He's been in his stupid, dumbass house every weekend for his whole presidency. Yeah. He's not the president. They've hit him away, and Kamala, tackling Kamala, it's still possible that this horrid woman can possibly be president because we're dealing with a bunch of apes who are voting for her, a bunch of zombies who don't think past their nose. They don't think about policy. They don't look at what the country was when Trump was in, and they don't even dissect what the country has become since Biden has been the non-president.
Well, Trump says he's going to go after policy, and he should, because she can't defend the policy. All they do is attack Trump as an insurrectionist or, a threat to democracy. Well, they're the threat to democracy. They overthrew the president. They threatened him. They made him resign under duress. They're the threat to democracy. I wanted to play one thing for you and ask you this question. I'm going to let this celebrity interviewer ask the question, and I'll let you answer, okay? Here we go.
You got it, buddy.
I've been thinking that we really all need a tremendous hug in the world right now. Yeah. But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
Hey, are you ready for some Mamala? Do you want some Mamala? That was my question.
What's the question?
Do you want some? Are you ready for Mamala? Do you want some Mamala?
Oh yeah, I want. Let me tell you what.
We all need a hug from her. Yeah,
she should go back to Willie Brown and do what she was doing with Willie Brown, and then she should go back to Montel Williams and go be the president of his fan club. That's all she's good for.
I'm going to tell you who Montel Williams is, her former boyfriend, what he said who he wants. Hint, it's not her. That's coming up next. I appreciate your call, my friend. We've got 3 lines open. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Would you like to hear... Oh, I got some great debate audio of Mamala, the cackler, debating against... what's her name? Who's the Democrat with the gray hair up here? I can't remember... from Hawaii. What's her name? Oh, she's a Democrat, but now she's an independent. I forget her name. She's a congresswoman who's... Anyways, she debated her, and I'll tell you, you'll hear that coming up next. It's fantastic. She gets put in her place. Okay, that's up next. What do you think? Is Biden on his deathbed? Why are they hiding him? Is this a coup? A threat to democracy? Should he finish his term or resign now? And do you think they hid this from us? Kamala, the Democrats, and Biden's staff all hid this from us. I sure do. This is some kind of a third world country. Our last caller was right on that. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. David and Hurst, Abby and Garland, you two are next.
The vice president is smart and strong, which will make her a good president.
She's going to bring and breathe some life into this campaign.
She's someone who's gone toe-to-toe with people who bluster, people who bully, people who lie.
I'm going to work for her all over the...
I'm sorry. I have to stop for a minute. I'm so happy that Pocahontas has endorsed Kamala. Hey, do you want to have a beer? Let's have a beer. Yeah. You want to have a beer? Let's have a beer. I don't drink beer, but I'm gonna pretend like I drink beer. Yeah. Mamala.
For her all over this country and do what I can to make sure we stop Donald Trump.
And Vice President Harris, Michigan voters have a presidential candidate we can count on to lower our costs, protect our freedoms.
My support of the vice president is because I've seen her in action.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have trouble. All eyes on prominent Democrats, reports the Politico, the left-leaning Politico. Who didn't back Harris yesterday, they say? Here's who might challenge her. J.B. Pritzker, the morbidly obese billionaire from Democrat governor of Illinois. Andy Beshear, the Democrat governor of Kentucky, he would certainly be a threat because he's a moderate Democrat. Joe Manchin is also flirting with the run, but today he said he was going to run as a Democrat, then he withdrew. Poor guy doesn't know his you-know-what from his hole in the ground. Meantime, did you hear about Frank Biden, Joe's little brother? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear this? Oh, it's incredible. I'll play it for you in just a minute. First, let's go to Abby in Garland. Abby, you're on WBAP. What do you got?
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Well, I'll tell you what I got. I got a scary thought for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Republicans need to kind of hush up and pray that they forced him, they made him stop. He's not going to run for president.
Mm-hmm.
But what's a scarier thought, they need to allow him to finish his presidency and not force him out, which would let Kamala become president. Then she could look presidential and maybe have a better chance, or God forbid she gets do things. You know what I'm saying?
I disagree because I think she would make an ass of herself for enough months. I mean, she would literally make an ass of herself. I think it'd be great. And I think that the American people are being lied to. He's obviously disabled mentally, and he's not able to run our country in any way, shape, or form. And yet the Democrats lie to us. There's no person running this country right now. There is no figurehead. The elites and the government employees, the unknown, unseen faces, are running our country.
Yeah, you know, Nancy and her cohorts are running the country. But so, Chris, you don't think that'd be a scary? You don't think they could force him out of his presidency? I hope not.
Well, they just did.
Well, I mean, running for president to be reelected, but he's still the president.
Well,
right now.
They just did force him out. He's not gonna have any power whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, here's continuing from a column I mentioned a little earlier. From Joshua Trevino today. Stripped of purpose, the presidency, the sole office and person representing the whole of the American people in the constitutional order, no longer participates in and certainly doesn't fulfill the roles of the nation that he's supposed to fulfill. The president now is permanently neutered and is capable of neither nobility nor action. Most distressing, the nature of the announcement. Paper statement he writes on Twitter, widely known not to actually be controlled by him. The account is not controlled by Joe Biden. The actual president of the United States is nowhere to be seen. There's no reason to believe that it was him.
And just one more thought about Kamala on TV today.
Yeah.
Looking at her and listening to her talk, it was scary to think about, embarrassing and funny to think her standing up not only to Trump or anybody else in a debate.
All she's going to do is play the race card, the woman card, the race card. That's all she's doing. And the other thing is she's going to reportedly act like a prosecutor and compare herself as a prosecutor and prosecute the case against Trump as a felon. But I think all you got to do is lay out her record as a California liberal, as a progressive who locked up a lot of black men. She's a progressive liberal from San Francisco. She locked up a ton of black men. She put a lot of people in there for weed. I'm going to play you, coming up next, I will play the Tulsi Gabbard debate with her, and she literally lays it out like in 20 seconds. What she did, the black men, let people on death row, kept people in prison for longer so they can get cheap labor from the state. The only reason why she pulled someone off death row is because the state ordered her to. She would not present the evidence to release the death row inmate. I mean, she was a nightmare for black men in California.
Not to mention her lack of effort on the border problem.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the top issues. I agree. So it'll be an interesting debate. We should not underestimate her, which is kind of hard to say, but nonetheless, we should not, because you never know what you don't know. But this changes the entire dynamic of everything, because certain swing states that were up might be worse for her. I don't see how she's going to get the radical Islamists in Michigan off their duffs to vote for her, because she is the friend of the Islamists. She is not a friend of the Jew. In fact, I've got one of the highest, best candidates you could possibly pick for vice president, and why one of the mainstream media said on their air today that he cannot be. They don't think he's going to be it, and it's disgusting. And it has to do with Israel and the Jew haters, the Jew killers, the terrorists. All that is next, plus that audio of the cackler up against Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi whoops her butt with the ugly stick. That's next.